Today we are going to see a creation of data warehouse in Fabric. How do we create data warehouse in Fabric, and what are the different types of views, or how we can create a view after creating a data warehouse, and how do we take care of the data directly if it is like if you have a data which is not in a CSV form or anything, if you have the data points ready, like how you can insert data in your SSMS, like using the insert into command, all that stuff. So we are going to see how we are going to create a data warehouse in a very simple manner without using any CSV file. We will just load the data using the insert into command where we'll have the data in terms of data points. So first thing, as usual, we need to create a workspace. I'll give a workspace as a warehouse for Fabric. So once the workspace is created, now there are two ways to create a data warehouse. One, you have to create a lake house in order to store the data, or you can directly create a warehouse without creating the storage. What it means in the sense, the ways whatever I have shown you, like creating the data warehouse in the medallion architecture, is it was through the data lake. Means in the sense, we used to create storage space, that is the lake house. We used to keep the data, raw data inside that, and then we used to create the fact and dimension tables with the help of the lake house. On top of that, we used to create a relational schema. Now today we will see how to create a warehouse directly without creating a storage space, in the sense without creating a lake house. So for that, we need to click on this new items and search for warehouse.
So this is directly from the workspace one, right?
Yes. So you would have gone through two things, how to create data warehouse. One is over the relational schema that is already in the lakehouse. And second thing is direct creation of the warehouse from the workspace.
Okay.
So do you remember these things, which has taught by sir in the
Yes,
yesterday's
yes,
class?
yes.
Yeah, that is what going to show today. So we have already
Okay.
seen the creation of data warehouse with the data lake. To create a data lake, dump the data there, then create a silver layer, do some transformations, create the dimension and fact tables over there. So that is one form of creation of data warehouse. Now, the direct way to create a data warehouse is this way. Just come to the workspace, create a search for the warehouse item, and give a name to the warehouse. I'll be giving it as first warehouse, and I'll click on create. So once you click on create, you will be able to see this interface, which is similar to the SQL endpoint interface in the lakehouse. So this is your warehouse. So if you just hover over it, you will be able to see the warehouse name, and you can also see the type of it. And these are the queries where whatever the query you run over here will be stored here. So, and these are the simple things. This is the refresh button, this is the setting button, and this is the place where you can get the data from external sources or any kind of data overloads. Then there are two types of queries, that is a regular SQL query and a visual query. And these are some SQL templates at advanced level. If you want to create a stored procedure, you can use this. If you want to create any scalar value function or table valued function, you can use these things. And this is the query activity where you can monitor your queries, what time it has taken, how many seconds it has taken to load the data. And this is the schematic model. Once you create proper schema to your data warehouse and the tables along with it, you will be able to create the semantic model. Basically, semantic model is nothing but the relation between your dimension and fact tables. That is called the semantic model. The whole model is called as a semantic model. And you can download your whole data warehouse as a database project, and you can also open the same thing in SSMS and the Visual Code Studio. And these are the APIs basically connected to this fabric. So there are many more APIs coming to this. As of now, we are in the trial account. We are only able to explore so many things. So in order to build this data warehouse, there are so many ways. So either you can bring the data using the data flows, or you can create a pipeline to load your warehouse, or you can get the sample data from outside and just by clicking on this. And we can use TSQL. That is what we are going to see today. And we can start building the warehouse. There is also where you already have a database and you want to implement that into a data warehouse. Yes, that is also possible using this option. So these are the overview of this interface of a data warehouse. If you want to create multiple data warehouse, you can just click on this and the multiple warehouses can be created over here. So that is also possible. Now the first thing is we will click on this TSQL code to create the tables. So this will open a SQL query interface IDE. So here I'll just copy the code here and then I'll explain you. So that would be easy. Okay. So first thing is we have already created a data warehouse by a default schema called DBO. So now we will give a condition that if exists, select start from system object. These are the system objects. If so, first thing is as soon as we create the data warehouse, we have to start creating the dimensional tables and then create the fact tables. So once we create the dimension and fact tables, then we can insert the data. This is a very basic level of insertion of data into the data warehouse. We'll come to the loading of the data warehouse sometime later. So this is the just a basic way how you can load into a table inside a data warehouse. So first thing is we'll be creating the dimension tables. So for this, we'll be using the sales data set itself. Have just sent the link over the chat. Like you guys can use those queries to create the data warehouse, like the dimension and the fact tables. Have you guys received the link?
Yes.
So the query is lengthy. That is why the chat, and it was in a it is from the open source from the Microsoft itself. So before creating a table, always make sure that to check whether the same table name exists or not. If it exists, please drop the table. That is what the first set of query tells, and then go with the next set of queries. So then we'll create a table with the default schema that is DBO called dim product, and we will give a product key that is with the integer which is not null, and the product alternate key that is the varchar and which is null, and we'll give a product name that is a varchar type and a category which is of a varchar type and the list which is a decimal type which can have null values also for these two. So this is how we create a dimension table. For example, this is of the product table. Okay, now I'll run the whole two queries at once. So here under this table section, you should be able to see the dim product with the respective columns along with the data types. So now the dim product table has been created, the dimension table has been created. Next is we need to insert the data. So insertion, there are many ways to insert the data, either by using the pipelines or using different types of pipeline activities. So today we'll be seeing the basic level of insertion, that is using the insert into syntax in our data warehouse. So I'll just run the whole set of queries. So this is going to insert the data into this table. So the query has executed successfully. Like you can just query this and see this will get you the first 100 rows of the product table. So the data has been successfully inserted into this dim product table. Similarly, we will also create other dimension and fact tables. So next is the customer and the so product is done. Next is customer. So now the customer table has been also created. You can see over here. with these many columns. That is the city, state, province, country and region, postal code, customer key, customer alternate key, and the title, first name, last name, and the address line. So I have also inserted the data along with the creation of the table. So both the queries have been executed successfully, as you can see over here. So next, after the customer table, it comes to the date table, which is named as dim date. This is a large number of data. This is the data consists of 2 years, that is 2021 and 2022.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Created the data warehouse. Then
Hmm.
after that, we are creating the dimension tables for loading the data, right?
Yes, we are creating
And
the dimension tables and also we are loading the data with that
loading the
for
data.
yes, this is the manual way. So if you want to
Ah,
automate this, like if you have the data in your CSV, you can just create a pipeline with the data flow and connect it to this data warehouse and you can push the data. So that
okay.
was thought with the help of data flows. Just one more dimension table, that is dim items. The dim tables are done. The next and the last final table is fact table. Let me go to the so even here we'll check whether the fact table exists or not, and then we can create a table contains the numerical values. So the fact sales order table has also created and the data is also loaded into it. So this is how manually you can create the dimension and fact tables, but loading the data, you can just, for the sake of understanding, most of the times the loading of the data happens through the pipelines itself using any of the activities in the pipeline. But to manually understand this, hands-on is taught to you guys. So once the data, now the data warehouse is ready. It has a dimension and fact tables. Now let us see, just analyze this data using another query. So I'll take a new query. So now we'll write a query to get the revenue generated by month of every year and what is the total number of sales or the total sales done every month in a year. So for that, we can write a query in the SQL itself, that is select. I'll be aliasing it D has for the dimension table date D dot as calendar year and D dot month is month of year and the month name as month name itself, and we'll get the sum of the sales from the sales order table, that is the fact table. So sales total as sales revenue. So these are the things we are getting from fact sales order table, was aliased as SO. And now I'll join the dim date D on SO dot. I'll use the order date key, so it'll be month name and order and I'll order by the calendar year. So it is case sensitive. Table names must be mentioned as we have mentioned in creation of tables. Yeah, now you can see the data, that is monthly sales revenue of both the years 2021 and 2022. So this is how you can query the fact tables by joining the dimension tables data. Most of the data, numerical data, will be in the fact table. You need to join with the particular keys with the dimension table to get the results. So this is one kind of analytics. So now next we'll see by the sales region 2. So I'll be using the same set of code, just I will add where I'll draw the country region from the customer table. We need to even the one more join with dim customer, and we'll also group by over this country region and order by sales region. So let us run this query. So basically it adds the sales region. Okay, yes.
The square bracket
Yes,
is
should not be a problem. It was because the comma was missing after this month of year. The SQL is case sensitive over here, especially with the table names. Yeah, now you can see the sales region over here. So, so we have joined the date table and the customer table. Those two are the tables of dimensions, and with the fact table, we have got the data. So now it is segregated based on the regions. We are getting the sales revenue for all the 2 years. You can even export this data into the Excel sheet, or you can also visualize this query using the visual query, which will be seeing it after some time. So now we have seen how to query the data using SQL queries. Now we'll see how to create the views. So for views, I'll take a new query. To create a view, it will be create view v sales by June has select the year as calendar year. Month name, and I'll take country region as sales. So basically this I'm creating a view. Here under this views, you will be able to see this v sales by region. So basically, whatever the query we did using our direct query analytics mode, this can be saved it as view, and you can use this view as a recurring function wherever you're using further. Suppose, so I can just select the calendar, and now you can apply the order by function over here. So you don't have to write the whole function. Whenever you want, you can just run with this view. Now there should not be any problem. Yeah. So the same query can be viewed as whereas in this query, after this query, you can update to this directly to this table, but in this case, you cannot update the views. If you want to update any cell over here, you cannot update, but here the dimension and fact tables. These views are given to just visualize the data so that there is no tampering of the data from the analyst side. That is why the views are used. In the visualization
so,
process, the views are created. Yeah,
so this is
please.
not a table, just a reference, right?
Yes, just a
So
view.
we are
It is
not
a temporary
creating.
storage of data. This is how we have created a view, and we have just given the name of the view, and we have fetched the data using this view. So, any more questions?
So how about business key? Which is the business key here in the table?
This is the product alt key is the business key. Wherever you see the alt keys, those are the business keys. And for dim product, we have a product alt key.
That ID is not visible in the view, right?
It's not visible. So any more questions over here?
What is the scope of this view? how long can we see this view?
Until you can use this view until you delete the view, or until you delete how you will drop the table, right? Until the table exists, you can have this view until these tables exist.
So this is not taking any space, right?
It is not taking any of the space.
Okay.
So this is basically created for the visualization itself, so that the tampering of the data doesn't happen. Or if you want to again and again use these columns, so it is there inside this view. You can just use the command like select star from this and select the columns, and you can play with the data. That is the major part of this view.
Okay.
So moving further, we will see the same thing. How do we do it in the using the visual query? Under this new SQL query, you will have an option called new visual query. Click on this. You will be able to see the visual query interface. So now, in order to create a visual query, we need to drop these tables over there, whichever the tables we need. So in this case, we will only need dim product table. Let's try with the dim. First, we'll bring the fax order table. Yeah. So I've dragged the fax order table here. Along with that, we'll take a dimension table that is dim product. Now, both the tables, data is visible over here. You can see the preview of the data. Now I will just click on this, and you can see a add icon. So the source is nothing but a SQL Server database. At the behind the data warehouse, it is a SQL Server database. So it is coming from the database, that is DBO, which has a schema, and there is a table. So the table is say a fact sales order table. So for that table, I can do n number of operations mentioned over here. Now I want to merge the queries. So considering this as the left table, I'll take the right table as the dim product table, which I have dragged over here. So now there are two tables. So how will these two tables merge?
Business keys and surrogate keys.
Foreign keys.
Okay, you can take it
Common
as
field in the table.
yes, common field in the table. You can consider it as a primary key over here in a common terms. Okay, so in this too, I can see the product key can be taken as a common key. So select that column in the sales factor sales order, and even in the dimension product. So once you select that, you should get this green tick where the selection matches all the rows from the first table. So once that is done, keep this as a left outer join itself. As of now, we'll be doing the left outer join. There are different joins also where you can try based on the data. So as of now, I'll be going with the left outer join itself, and I'll click on OK. So it will merge this and it will give into a single table. So you can see the results over here, and here in the dim product, single click on it, and I'll just uncheck all the boxes, and I'll just give the product name so that the whole table arranges based on the product name. So here we can see the total sales of each of the product. So this is one type of querying using the data warehouse. So like in the visual query or any querying part. So the whole data will be here. You can use this visualize results, which I'll be speaking about it later whenever Sir covers the analysis and the reporting. We will see how to visualize the data from the set of data itself. So any questions?
Nanda,
Yeah. So in order to delete the query, select this box or the flow and click on delete button on your keyboard. So that will delete the whole query. Are there any questions on this?
no.
So this is all about today.
That's all for now. Like and subscribe and turn on notifications for future videos. Thank you.